Hello. Whoops. Okay, I was muted. There we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the VSL Group D cast. Joined by Zombie Grub and what I'm sure is a dead knee. We'll be casting Group D today.
What did you do?
So I
heard you yell.
Yeah. It actually hurts really bad. So I was just rushing around because I was a little bit late to getting this set up. Oh, I don't have the screen region. One sec, guys. And I can only equate this as running into the corner of the wall, and it gouged my knee. So it feels pretty bad right now.
Gross.
But, yeah, I know it's gross. It's super cool. It's awesome. I guess we'll get synced up here in a moment. There's not really anything going on just yet for the cast. The bot didn't get revived because I fucked up my knee, guys. It was like it's this fucking piece of shit corner here, and the bot's out there. I'll get it up in a second. Not what I meant to say. The bot. I will get the bot up and running in a moment. That being said, I'm still a bit frazzled and frankly a bit winded. Just trying to rush and make up for the fact that I sat there doing the Peter Griffin. Yeah. So.
No, that one.
We'll get things set up and going in a moment. I gotta get the bit boss stuff back up. I did, unlike last time, I remembered to save our settings from VSL, so I shouldn't have to muck around with the camera and do a bunch of really annoying stuff like last time we were doing this, if you recall.
All right.
Also,
What's that?
Fuck? I'm not sure if there's a bunch of really tiny dogs yipping in a yard or if that's like a bunch of drunk girls. Sorry. I was gonna say nobody threw any bits in for the Kerrigan Pop vinyl figurine you and I had signed. So I guess we'll go back to doing another Hell's Boot time portrait code for the bot loot.
Cool.
Okay, hang on. I'm actually like concerned. What is that? It's the way I can best describe this is like if it's not a bunch of drunk girls, there's like an animal attacking a bunch of other animals, and it's just them yipping to respond.
Yip yip.
It's not a cute yip yip. It's like I feel like I'm hearing someone die, you know, and it actually makes me feel very worried.
I feel like yip is the universal woof, but cute, right? Like wolf is just dog, yip is a cute dog or a small dog.
Yip yip appa.
Or is sky bison.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So here's today's boss loot, guys. It doesn't come with a platinum portrait code. I just screenshotted this from like Google. I don't even have a portrait code. I don't play the damn game. But one of the very rare, hard to get, you literally cannot get this anywhere else, in-game portrait codes for Hell's Boot time will be the boss loot for today for anyone that decides to play in the Bit Boss battle. But again, don't feel obligated to. It's just a bit of a reward and a thank you for those who do. Let's make this a bit bigger since I got some space.
Very good.
I have sounds on. Yeah, okay, there we go. They just weren't playing any music. I also gotta go put us up on Team Liquid before I forget. But for those who don't know how this works, let me just mute this for a moment while we wait for this to get going. For those who are unfamiliar with how this works, you haven't seen us cast the other three groups of the VSL so far. They give us a live feed, a live stream, if you will. So like you're gonna see me mouse over this, and it's gonna totally look like we're just watching a YouTube video, and you're like, Rifkin, isn't this like the exact same thing you complain about with content theft and blah blah blah? And the answer to that is no. This is a live feed directly coming from VSL. They prepared it for us and the other foreign casters specifically, and we have absolute permission to be doing this. But that being said, because we're not in game, we don't have control over anything. We can't press the production tab. We can't hit the units tab. And most importantly, we cannot mess with the sound of the unit shooting versus the music playing in the background. Okay, it's all one thing that they're giving us. So apologies in advance if any of those are off. There's definitely been a couple times where they've not shown the production tab, where I wish they would, but it's okay. They do some picture-in-picture, and they do some player camera stuff, and they do a lot of stuff to make up for it. So it's pretty cool, and it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
While we're waiting, actually, I'm going to swap to the in-game scene and just start setting this up, though, because, wink, we do have to get this all up and running. There we go. And then I'll add the Bit Boss battle over to the side. And that should make us good for the day. Just while I've got this full screen, we contemplated trying to do something kind of like this on having like a laptop between us when we were doing the Ting Open.
Yeah.
I actually don't mind the way this looks, the way they have it set up.
Yeah, the only thing is that I think it's just too big of a laptop. Like we were thinking like we had a tablet, but then we didn't
Yeah.
do it.
Also, dude, I got such a crush on this girl. I wish she would do that thing where like she just braids like one row of her hair, like, and then uses that as like kind of like almost like a hairband. I feel like her hair would be perfect for that.
I kind of feel like I know what you're talking about, but that feels like very tribal.
I don't know about tribal. I guess I have been watching like a lot of Horizon Zero Dawn. I've been seeing girls do that to their hair kind of like when they play it, and I'm like,
okay.
that looks pretty cute. I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, yeah. So today's group is gonna involve some pretty good players. No schmucks. Here we go with stats. It's actually stats, jjakji, trust, and impact. I don't have a lot of faith in where trust sits right now, but jjakji and impact, like for me, stats comes first in this
You don't have
group.
a lot of faith in where trust sits. Why don't you just go with the pun?
Because I hurt my knee and I wasn't thinking, okay? That's going to be my excuse.
Okay.
But the point is, I see stats coming out first in this group. Like, no doubt in my mind. No matter who he gets up against, it's going to be stats first. So,
Yeah.
is it jjakji, trust, or impact? And jjakji's had some pretty good games lately.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna guess jjakji, but you know, I think all that needs to happen is, well, obviously all that needs to happen, right, is that he loses. Wait, is he going up against stats right now? Hold on here.
Actually,
Yeah,
if we can talk for a moment. What happened to Impact, man? We kind of saw him disappear. We knew he was going to join the house with Patience, and then now he's on Dead Pixels, but I never remember hearing an announcement for that. He was just on Dead Pixels. And I only found out about it when they flew him out to Vegas to do this weird IBM thing that I also didn't hear any promotion for.
Yeah, that's just the case. Like, yeah, they just did about Dead Pixels, and no one's gonna really ever care. Yeah, jjakji is playing stats right now. So I was gonna say, all that needs to happen is for Trust or Impact to have one good series against jjakji in a losers match, and I totally see him getting out.
I feel like
Or
if they raised jjakji's picture a little bit, we'd have a really nice like tracer booty shot, you know?
They don't include the booty at all in all these. I guess I
know what
never
I
really
just
thought about it, but
realized?
it's probably on purpose.
That Nova picture I got done that you were kind of like whatever about that I really liked. Like that was actually like the tracer pose that everyone got mad about. It's just occurring to me.
Well, it's the Nova pose.
Well, it's the booty pose, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's the booty pose, but I was gonna say, like, yeah, the only thing I don't like about the thing that you got isn't like the cartooniness or the animiness or whatever, although it's not like my personal style preference. It was just like the Nova pose, which is very like, you know, like whatever miscellaneous critique. So that's the only reason I was whatever about it. You know, you can.
I really like the way it came out. Well, you can't
Then
keep
that's what
it down,
matters.
Zombie Grub. You can't keep it down. All right, looks like we're getting a game. Go say goodbye to Apollo for the time being. Have a good time. You're so cute. But let's hop to two other cuties. Stats versus jjakji. And it looks like the first map is going to be on Belshire Vestige. Zombie Grub equals the villain from Inspector Gadget. Claw.
Oh, has been so lovey too.
He's happy to have you home, dude. He's like, you were gone for a week, Mom.
Yeah, I was actually concerned that he was like stressing himself out. So when I got back, he kept on crying whenever I left the room. And like he threw up, I guess maybe like an excitement.
Yo,
or
it's
something.
Super adorbs. It's like a dog getting too happy for the ball and you see him like start jumping up and down in place.
I don't know, man, but it made me worried. Like, what's he gonna do when I leave? I leave for 2 months.
All right, well, intro's fast. In the top left, it's stats. I heard this guy won a couple of small tournaments recently.
Small?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, totally. On the bottom right, it is jjakji.
Wasn't it like some gold league thing? Gold Star League or something? I don't know.
Golf Star League, yep.
The Golf Star League.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
I
what
was
I
going to go
heard.
get the bot back up and running. So squeeze me for just a moment.
Yeah, and we should make sure that we're synced up as well.
Yeah, well, start talking. We'll do it.
Well, there's so many things happening, so it's gonna be so easy to tell. There's a bear coming down. There's no in-game sounds. I mean, I don't even think they're just low. I think there's actually no sounds.
You are correct. I'm hearing that too. I'm gonna.
Huh.
Oh, this is a problem because I don't know how much they'll respond, but I'm gonna message them real quick.
Yeah. I don't have mine very low, but I think there's just
Hey guys, no in-game sounds. Only music. All right, and then who's Ethan? So I gotta go poke about this. Yeah, that's actually really weird. I wouldn't have noticed since you pointed it out, but there's definitely like no sound of mining, anything. Hey Ethan, VSL.
And get a Taja or TJA 1980 for the 25-month resub. What's a 3-year sub icon look like? I'm Keen. You're not Keen. You can't fool me.
Keen's a Korean play. No, there's no option for 3 years. Actually, I think when Twitch rolled that out, it is like less than 0.5% of people who've had a sub button for that long.
There's not a lot of people, that have a sub button. So
it's probably something where a year from now you'll see a 3-year option because a lot more partners will have it.
But then I'll need a 4-year option.
I know. We're always going to be 1 year behind the max. Is what it comes down to. All right. So they have responded. They're going to look into it, guys. For example, this could be simple as just them hitting Control S in game. It also might just be like an actual problem with the feed itself. Again, we're not in game. Like, it's kind of frustrating because I don't like the clean feed option in the first place, but we got to work with their rules and their limitations, right? Is the bot working now, though? That's my real big question. Yes, the bot's up and running. Cool. Yay!
Very good then. All right, what time are you at?
2:41. Where are you at?
So you're a little bit ahead. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Wait,
8.
do I pause? What are you doing? I don't. Am I pausing?
Yeah, I think you're ahead, right? Because you're 253, 254.
Okay. Count.
7, 8.
Okay,
9,
now I'm behind by 1
3,
second. So pause for 1 second and we're good.
3. Okay, they should be good now.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what's funny? Maynard had no problem. We were discussing this when he joined me last week because we didn't have to do any pausing. We were both just synced from the get-go, and I'm like, "You're from Australia. Zomgrab's only 3 hours away from me. How is this such a big problem?"
This is the closest thing we've been from the start, but like, it really was just 1 second, but an important second.
Well, anyways, Splice has got to be very happy with Stats, of course, having won GSL recently. An absolute badass in his own right. And, of course, if you've been a fan of BaseTradeTV, you've been keeping up to date with stuff happening in the house, namely and specifically the drunk stream and stuff. He's been a really funny guy. And I like that. Oh, I like that Widowmine out of jjakji is what I was going to say.
So now we can hear the in-game sound. Now it's low.
Yes. Well, you know what? It's there, though, and it's noticeable. So I'm not going to ask him to tweak it because I'm happy with it just working.
Yep. All right, so... Okay, all the important stream stuff aside. Oh, follow left.
That is one of those important things, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Super important. We have a very weird-looking push coming in here. It's not with tanks, which is sometimes what you usually would see if they're going to attack very early on Belshir. It's just with, like, a ragtag group of units.
I heard you Scrappy.
I heard you making noise, and I couldn't tell if you were in pain or you're like, how is Stats going to hold on to this?
Kind of both. Yeah, you're like, how are you going to hold on to that third, man? This is cycling now, bro. No, sorry. Just don't mind me. Phoenix Adept, it's such a common thing to do, and we've been seeing more and more early aggressive Terran moves of any kind, whether they're ragtag or fastly timed or proxied, seem to be the best way to deal with this early on, as the Protoss just seem to fall apart pretty quickly if they take early damage while going for this composition specifically.
Yeah. I mean, this can really backfire. Even though they don't have a lot of production early on, they're really waiting for that third base, and, you know, they're depending on the mothership core. It was such a low amount of units with not even combat shields, right, that if there was just a barely hold, jjakji's follow-up is probably a lot worse, because, of course, everything would die with Phoenix's, but... it ended up being pretty perfect. Like, he got away, he denied the third base. He forced Stats to take a very odd third base because Stats does not want to commit to an Oracle at all. Which is kind of weird, but he doesn't, so he's not going to be able to clean up the Widowmine. He's got to wait for an Observer. And this is not what Protosses are doing. This is what Terrans are doing. But Protoss is definitely still taking the horizontal lineup of bases on Belshir. So, I mean, it might drastically affect Stats. It might be something that he worked around before.
Speaking of horizontal, Maynard resubs for 8 months. What up, man?
What is that supposed to mean?
Oh, did you not see the last cast we did together? He brought like 8 women to the stream with him. It was really awkward.
Oh, I heard about that.
They had a pool party and didn't invite me, and I just felt really left out.
Yeah.
So it's a weird third to take, but when you're forced into this position, I guess it's better than nothing. And the funny thing is, it's so unconventional, jjakji might not even look for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really unconventional. I mean, well, the thing is jjakji should look for it just because you cannot do this style and be on 2 bases. Like, At least I don't think you can. Even if you like had an all-in your back pocket that was still 6 gateways, 2 bases, or 7 gates or whatever, I'm not sure it'd be worth it. Like, the power of the Adept Phoenix is really just like, well, Resident Glaze a +1, first of all, but then, like, second of all, like, just so many Adepts. So you should be checking that third base, knowing that the other one is not taken.
This is the frustrating thing about Phoenix. When they've got energy, they're really good, and they can keep a lot of things like Marines out of the fight, pick them up one at a time, easily deal with them. He tries to get out with a full medevac, and I mean, he will get out with at least a full medevac, but...
Yeah. Well, it's actually, it's a really good bait. There's 2 medevacs going to the main base that the observer is going to see in a second, I guess, but... the Phoenixes do go to respond to that with the Adepts chase down the Marines. Joshy does not have a wall up in his natural, so in a situation like this where there just is not a lot going on, in fact, these 2 medevacs don't do very much of anything, Adepts could have just run in probably and killed Joshy before he was ready to go. He doesn't have combat shield, and I'm going to guess he doesn't have a lot of Liberators, but Stats obviously pulls back, doesn't feel confident without his Phoenixes. This is not really a time where he plans on attacking either, and well, Joshy has some time to recover. I mean, he was a little panicked, man. He's building a bunker, but he's all right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, his attacks have been not so good, and loses a lot of medevacs in the process. We've actually, so the general consensus here is like, you want about 4 medevacs against Protoss at any given time. That's about what you're allowed to work with. But when there's Phoenix like this, it's really hard to keep that number even at 4, and you don't want to go much higher than that either, because, well, then you're just wasting gas.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Oh, Ghost Academy.
Yeah. Joshy is still on 2 bases, and he is in that desperate mode of like, okay, I tried to attack, I got wrecked, I need something, because Adept Phoenix is going to kill me. And Stats, I mean, Stats is even like staying on Adept Phoenix is like a real problem too. Ghost would be fantastic and could get amazing EMPs to win out against this army, this specific army. But there's already a second Robo and a Robotics Bay on the way, so I don't know if that's really gonna hold true in like in a minute here.
Well, Phoenix is continuing to do exactly what they mean to do, and that is just stopping the harass from getting out of hand. I like too, on top of all this, like there hasn't been any real big slip-ups. Like, you know, Stats isn't clumped up and walking over 3 Widow Mines and losing all his Phoenix. He's not flying AFK over a bunch of Marines. He's actually been pretty good and pretty diligent and consistent with his use so far.
Yeah. And this is all without, again, an Oracle. Just like wanting to kind of... It seems like it's an odd thing to drive home, but...
Did the game music just shift very dynamically, very suddenly?
It's like a little bit louder, but my volume's so low, like I don't see the difference like you would.
Wait, see, it's changed again. It's like they're changing the actual song.
Whoa, you're right.
And that caught me really off guard.
I would never notice unless you said they're changing the song. EMPs go down, the Warp Prism died. This is not a bad attack if the Widow Mines get involved. One goes off.
Yo, this should go well for Joshy. He's sitting on pretty good upgrades, a lot more army supply, and the Phoenix have been, if for no other thing else, removed from the equation. And the problem is, Colossus are on the way. Colossus can maybe deal with a bio, but not if Stats loses everything that's meant to tank in front of them. So these Adepts he's keeping out of the fight, kind of like, you don't want to lose the Nexus, but you also don't want to lose those Adepts. Here comes the Colossus.
This is dangerous, though. Like, that army is pretty low, but it still has a couple Marauders.
Nothing to stand in front of them. They get torn down so quickly.
I think Joshy just won. Like, I actually think that Stats maybe should just give it up to third base. Okie dokie, then.
Okie dokie. I was going to mention, though, first, look at that smile. Look at that grin. He's like, I beat Stats. Feels good, man. But I liked a lot that Ghost Academy. While I didn't really get to jump into it because things picked up so quickly, I think when you're coming against somebody who's going Phoenix, like, obviously removing shields is great, but being able to remove the energy from the Phoenix as well, make sure they're not picking things up every 3 seconds. I think there's a lot of cool things to what just happened, but even Stats is just like he's like, are you serious?
Yeah. Well,
Terran.
Stats should be so... well, yeah, that first of all. But no, Stats should be so angry because literally if his Colossus were 20 seconds sooner, or let's put it another way, like his Nexus was 10 seconds, like, you know, farther for Joshy to get to, which it would have been if it was in the regular third. I think he actually has that time and the army together, and he doesn't have to worry about ghosts destroying his army entirely. But it just was like a perfect series of events, perfect timing. Like, I'm not sure Joshy's gonna be able to do that again, really.
I mean, in fairness, that was kind of like a perfect storm of events. Like, and I don't want to take anything away from Joshy by chalking it up to something like luck, right? But there was like a little bit of that involved too. I think, though, he is a good enough player that in a best of 3, he might be able to close it out 2-0. I'm not sure if he follows up with Cheese, though, or if he sticks with his guns, because we have been seeing through Bjorn and others, Cheese seems to be the way to deal with, well, Protoss who like to be Protoss.
Yeah.
Thank you, by the way, to Ian Chan, 2003, for the 28-month resub. Glad to have you back on board.
Newkirk. Yeah, we found out last time we cast that it is in fact only 5 maps. And there's no Abyssal, and there's no Palladino.
I imagine part of removing Abyssal was just like, guys, we don't want to keep making the GSL version.
Oh, or that.
Oh, you got those awesome heavy metal rock. No, it's more like rock, I guess. Intros coming out of VSL.
Yeah. So, I also like when after I guess the intros, I want to note when exactly like a game that looked exactly like that but on this map. So on the bottom right is the red Protoss with stats. Gotta get them in there quick.
Yeah, they do the intros a little bit abruptly because his opponent in the opposite side up 1 game. It's Joshy.
So, okay, the last game was so cool and it was amazing that it timed out so perfectly. But it really was one in like a very like I don't know about million, right? But like one in like a couple dozen games because stats literally like got to the GSO finals. Spoiler alert, right? By defeating Ryung, who did much of the same thing. Like Ryung had this game where he basically kind of failed against Adept's Phoenix. He was too aggressive and lost out in a lot of units, and then was contained, which happens a lot, especially on Newkirk. And then he decided ghosts were a good idea. And you could argue, I guess, that maybe his is a little more of a Hail Mary than even Jokshi's was, because it was like a little bit later. But the idea was there. It's a great idea, but the point is, like, Stats is usually supposed to have his Colossus fast enough, or more depths. So I really think that's why I'm like really thinking that Joshy could not get away with that again. But that Ryung Stats game was on Newkirk, so it could happen. And I'm guessing Stats isn't totally disheartened with the idea of Phoenix Adept just because 1 game. He might do it again.
Yeah, I don't think the Stats is the type of guy to break to pressure, like just to build on your point more. Like I feel like, let's say this is best of 7, right? He gets cheesed 3 games in a row. He's not gonna really let that affect his decision making for like game 4 type thing.
Yeah.
But certainly annoying over here with that probe. Not gonna be the end of the world though, because Josh can just slap it down.
You're right. It's actually like. So usually it's not the end of the world, right? But I do feel like against some Protosses, you're already a little bit paranoid that probe micro means that they're gonna pylon rush you, but it's not Stats' intention. Not a real pylon rush, anyways.
You're being too fast. You're being too fancy. Too furious.
It's so silly, but seriously, if they get a denial on your natural, on the exact placement of the natural, not a denial of the natural, but just like it's over 1 grid space, that zealot that they're chronoing out can maybe kill your SCV, and then it just snowballs from there. But of course, Joshy had scouted an SCV and he saw no zealot, so there was actually no concern. This is gonna get 2 probes? No, I guess that 1 probe though.
Still 1's not bad, and he might just get out of there alive. No, the Adept should get a shot off.
Oh,
right in the
close,
back.
though. Yeah, that was pretty close.
Oh, hey, Daunted was a new sub, but it's not showing up on the overlay for some reason. So thank you for that in chat. Or maybe it's a resub that's bugged out. You know, Twitch can sometimes be super cool like
that. Yeah, sometimes. Well, thank you. It's not Phoenix Adept. So I said that I don't think he'd be like too deterred to do it again just because 1 game went wrong. But this is a good thing about, Protoss, that they have these 2 styles that they can swap between. And it is going to be that Robo. Oh no, the fresh mule. Get back to mining. Do it. Did I die? No? No, that's good. Still, lost a trip. That Adept was decent. The Wood of Mine's also gonna get caught here. I don't think it dies though. It does not. Actually, like, okay. I've always known that Widow Mines are like a little bit tankier than usually given credit for, because like a probes round won't kill it, a couple of Adepts won't kill it before it burrows, like all that jazz. But playing co-op last night really made me angry at Widow Mines.
I have never been more. I haven't uploaded the shoot. Did you upload yours? I didn't upload mine yet.
No.
Okay. Yeah, Zombie and I played the new mutation last night, guys, and if you guys are casual co-op fans, I do not recommend trying to solo queue this one. I do not believe this is going to be a mutation you can beat solo queue. You have to queue with somebody that you know and can coordinate with. Because even when you coordinate perfectly, it still goes so badly because Widowmines are so cool.
Yeah, all the splash is amazing, but I just could not believe how bad. Like, it took 5 Dragoons to like even like not even like one. I'm not talking about one shotting, which like Widowmines. I think it would take like 9 Dragoons to one shot a Widowmine. Like, it's so stupid. Anyways, Viking harassment looks super silly because Poison Overcharge is usually way too good for this, but it's scouting and it's the potential to kill something. So it just gets out of there.
I wonder if ESL has rules about skins and stuff, because I just realized I don't think we've seen anyone use any cool skins, have we? Much less the brand new ones.
No, but I wouldn't be surprised if they use the same counties on GSL, so that's like already automatic default.
Ah, but we know they don't because Bjol was on his, remember?
No, I don't. Wait, what?
When we cast Bjol in the debut match, he was on Bjol with Team LFT and the shield and everything.
Oh, is he not in GSL?
Well, you're saying SSL uses the same accounts as GSL, right?
Don't they just use their accounts? Like, there's no shared GSL or VSL account, is there?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're using their own accounts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That they use the same account, which is their account, for GSL and VSL.
See, I misunderstood, and I thought you said there's like some sort of account, like generic player one account. And I'm like, it would actually, actually, if you think about that, it would super violate Blizzard's terms of services. They've been outlining that stuff for WCS, right? Like,
yeah, right. Well, that's what Pro League used to do, so they should have been in trouble a long time ago.
Really?
Now, Sim combat shields are actually still a pretty long way off, so this drop isn't really that fantastic. But because there's no Phoenixes, really, you should just start trying dropping as much as possible.
That was loud, and I should turn that down. Kostya, thank you for the 1500 bits shenanigans. Yeah, you are the new bit boss. Congratulations.
Way to go.
Killing bits like Joshy killed stats in game 1. Hey.
It's just barely with an EMP.
Well, it was a one shot. It worked, right? Get the job done.
All right, well, Joshy, he might have preemptively gone out with Medivacs, but it looks like he's going to be kind of waiting and setting up here. He might be able to tell that there's not an observer on his army anymore. I'm not sure how much attention he's paying to his drops in the bottom right, bottom right, but it'd be cool, though, because, like, his stats has got to figure they're there, because he has an observer to scout their escape as well, but it's this thing where at some point, whether it's the bottom or top or middle drop, stats should mess up.
Well, he's pretty well split right now. The natural's where the vulnerability is, so yeah. Drops over here. You can probably pick up that pylon quickly if you'd like to, but the Colossus are already responding, and I don't know how much staying power Joshy even really has, so yeah. Picks up, walks away, but the drop for the main goes left. You look right, I punch left. Kansas City shuffle.
This is really nice, actually, to pair up the 2 medevacs with that single medevac, too. Like, this is just barely too much for the army Sats had segmented off here, but he brings the rest from the main.
I love the multitasking here, too, because Joshy, if he makes one small mistake, one medevac stays too long, it gets picked off by the stalkers. Like, this all falls apart on him. But while this goes on, he did do double starports, and this is so important to note, because we've been seeing a lot of this game, this matchup, move away from Colossus, and that was specifically because Terran recognized double starports the way to go. So going back to this, maybe there's a chance Joshy had been playing against Adept Phoenix for so long, he didn't register, like, oh, I need a second starport very, very early.
Well, he's really got one in time now. Like, if 4 Vikings at a time, I was going to say, unless Stats literally moves out right now, should be fine, but this might be Stats' opportunity. I tried pressing G, make a note of it, but it 30 minutes, before I tried. I didn't see if Stats had gotten Blink, which is possible that he didn't. He's only got 4 Stalkers, so Resonant Glaives means his Adepts are going to be a little more powerful on the bottom, and it just really is, like, damage output more than finesse right now, if he doesn't have Blink, which again I can't confirm.
Yeah, for those who don't know, again, we're not in game. We can't press. Like, G is the upgrade tab, and that's what we try to go for.
Yeah, like you do get his spy console kind of later, so he did not get Blink first, which, you know, it was a good opportunity for Josh to try and drop. It kind of worked out. You know, he didn't lose any Medivacs or Blink, and then there's also this thing where this is in like a minute, I feel it's gonna become obvious since no stalkers are blinking and there's not like all stalkers that it's gonna be resonating glaives instead. Joshy has such a good concave, and there's a lot of Vikings. I quite worried for stats here in this engagement, but maybe Adept shine through. Maybe? No?
Well, the thing is, the Vikings could land to try and help out a little bit on the backside, but I don't think they want to tango with that. The Marauders are supposed to be getting the work done, and yeah, kiting back, he does end up taking the fight.
Joshy only lost 13 SCVs, I'm guessing to like Adepts on the third base, but he must have been at such a low count anyways. Down to 39 now is not too great. But his army is like, consider that the Vikings landed are good in Legacy of the Void. This is a much bigger army than we're used to seeing, and they're even just going to escort the medevacs. They could find that Colossus that actually popped out and still alive. They could easily kill that one.
Well, with a couple disruptors being brought into this, I'm excited to see whether good shots get had or not, but this dropped the main.
Oh, not worth.
So an empty medevac at least. Like, if you're going to take that loss, at least it's that, right?
Yeah. 17 Adepts is no joke, though. They were remade very quickly.
This army supply is really deceiving and weird, right? Like, you look at it at a glance, you're like, oh, Jokshi's up like 20 supply. This should be an easy fight for him. But so much of that is in Vikings. Like, this isn't your regular Viking count. This is an abnormally high Viking count.
Yeah, and if it was mostly Stalkers, then this is actually a super good army. But it is back to like a lot of Adepts.
Yeah. Not to mention, of course, Disruptor on the ground and whatnot, but Disruptor comes in and it's not paying attention, so it just gets focused down. No shot fired. Well, shot fired, but no shot detonated.
But the Liberators, man.
Oh, the Liberators and the Vikings together are killing the Stalkers. Anti-air my ass, they say, as everything gets shreked on the ground. But unfortunately, regardless of that, the Adepts are still going to win out this fight. Not enough bio for Jokshi, and this goes back to the whole like deceptively good-looking army.
Fortunately, can't get that last Stalker. Those Liberators are really a lot of help against the Adepts. If only they had lived, or were bigger numbers, I guess. 5 instead of 3. But Joshy holds. He is still, again, like he had that lower SCV count. He's only just really saturating his third base. And he doesn't really have a response for Stats' army now. Like, he had the Colossus thing down pat. Like, that was no problem. But Mass Adepts proved to be the real issue. They do, I guess they're evenly upgraded, but that doesn't seem to have helped Jokshi that much. He does get the Disruptor, and the Liberators aren't being targeted. There we go, blink in, just enough Stalkers to try and take those out. And it looks like Stats will be overrunning, unless he just doesn't take care of these Liberators ever.
So it's so weird watching this dynamic, right? Like, it's in moments like this, you're kind of like, Liberators don't feel like they were ever good enough to nerf. But at the same time, when it's smaller engagements, like the 3 Stalkers and the Mineral Line and stuff, that's where, like, yeah, the Liberator needed a nerf. It's so hard watching that engagement and the one before where the Liberator just got to set up in the sky. Stats takes a bad engagement underneath them, but still wins. Like, Adepts are, like, I really, truly, in my heart, don't believe Adepts themselves are so broken, but they are too strong.
Oh, they're very strong, yeah. I mean, certainly that game, he just was... Hindsight 2020, right? He went way too hard in the Vikings. Like, the 6 less Vikings could have probably done good enough against the Colossus. And that's a lot more Marauders or Marines or whatever else gets. Also, he didn't get Widowmines at any point in time. Because he thought it would be Adepts. So, that also would have helped.
Well, Jokshi, probably not feeling too bad because, of course, he again, even if you take a loss here, it's against somebody like Stats, but I think that first game win. Yo, hold the phone though. This is a problem. Is Stats using a Razor bag? Yo, is it sponsored by Corsair?
Well, they don't have bags, so
yeah, that could be true.
Okay. Yeah, he was on KT, which is sponsored by Razer.
Yeah, it's probably just like his bag from forever. No, I just noticed like he's using like a Razer mouse pad. Stupid Razer little mouse thingy.
Stop noticing. Shh. Shh.
For those who don't know, I really passionately dislike Razers. So I was super stoked when I learned like mutual sponsor sharing with Splice, right? So yeah. I'm just saying, it's disappointing. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, son.
He's using probably one of their like stablest mice at least. Like the stupid Naga, whatever.
On top left, quick intros, it's Stats.
in the top right is the blue Terran. He is Joshy.
And actually, I will make a note of saying this. I feel like no matter who you're sponsored by, like as a player, right? Not talking here as the broadcaster or advertiser, but if you're a player, you should really be using whatever equipment you're most comfortable with. You know, on one hand, like it sucks because the sponsor wants you to show off all their Corsair gear, but if at the end of the day you're winning GSL championships because you're using like a Razer mouse, well, you're gonna get your sponsor a lot more exposure that way, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It is really hard though, especially for these guys that are playing a lot, I guess. Because like you're like, well, please use the stuff that we have, and they're like, okay, I'll do it when I don't have a tournament, so I can practice on it. And then they all have tournaments, all the time, always.
Yeah, that's the loophole.
Yeah.
Martin Seld, or however you pronounce your name, Chen, says, have you guys been casting VSL every time it's on? Yep. I thought we had missed the cast last week, but I guess it was canceled because I was feeling bad about only doing the one, but turns out that's happening tonight. So hey, it is worth noting though. Today and tomorrow are our last days cast in the VSL, and by us I mean me and Zombie specifically. Maynard, and you guys should remember Zeph, will be coming back and covering them all throughout April. So every Thursday, Friday here on BaseTradeTV, Maynard and Zeph will be bringing you some of that VSL action. And just to be perfectly clear, same deal as always, guys. Money that you're enjoying the cast, they're going to keep. So it's totally an awesome, mutually beneficial relationship. By the way, in them doing it, because you guys might wonder, like, well, why did you guys go get them to cast? By having them come cast, it actually freed us up to host something on Friday mornings, which is going to be the new time of the Corsair Cup that we'll be testing out. Maybe Mondays are still better and we'll go back to it, but for now we'll be trying Fridays.
Well, I heard it's an okay restaurant, but it's not like Applebee's, so.
Okay Fridays?
Okay Fridays. That should be what they're called.
Let's see if you here on the left side. I was wondering if he's going to do something with this. It could be a proxy starport, because it is just quite so often out of the way. Boom!
Yep. Proxy starports are always a little, like, odd. Especially, well, I want to say against Protoss, because the chances of Protoss going for Stargate on Cactus Valley is still kind of high. And even if it's 2 bases, which it is for stats, you still, like, the Stargate finishes, and Oracle pops out, and Phoenix pops out. Like, they will have anti-air. So if it's a Liberator, which is what I would expect it to be, just because it's, like, not paired up with the factory's Widow Mine, it won't last very long. If it's a Medevac, then I don't even know. I don't think it's really helpful. Putting it with their Medevac.
Well,
okay, good. It's not.
I was gonna say I would be the utmost happiest camper if this ended up being something like Cloak Banshees. And I only say this because we've been watching Gumiho do weird stuff like this, and I'm a big fan of anything that's out of the ordinary. And stats, that Oracle, that Phoenix together would shut down a Banshee embarrassingly badly. However, because the Oracle will be across the map and using all of its energy to kill SCVs, there's not going to be detection at home, and that Banshee should get away with a lot.
Yeah, and this is one of those situations where, like, it's kind of okay to go for more than one Banshee if the first one doesn't work, just because they want to stay on one Oracle. They don't want to build more Oracles for more detection, and if you get 2 and then 3 Banshees, they should be killing Probe just by being on either side of each other and dodging out the Revelations, 1 apiece. So I expect Joshy to try and go up for, like I said, like at least 2 or 3. Maybe even higher, though, if it starts working out well. Like, it seems to be against Phoenix Oracle, it's the later Banshees that are the best. Oh, he actually automatically gets a second Oracle. I don't think Joshy was thinking that was gonna happen. Oh well. So we'll have a Revelation. Probably 2. In fact, he might just be able to scout this. Yeah, he noticed the lack of the starport in the main base. It's a little awkward. This is super awkward, in fact. Not just a little awkward.
Sucks.
This Cloak isn't done. And Phoenix just tear down Banshees real quick, like.
And now that Oracle should have energy for that second one. So
yeah.
This really bites for poor Joshy, who I really think this was a great move, like, truthfully and honestly, but this is not going to work out. It
really usually is. The Oracle, doesn't usually scout the lack of a starport. Like, it goes right to the main base, the mineral line, and then leaves. But it was very apparent there's no starport for stats, so this is harsh, man. Like, he has to remake another starport, and the committal of Banshee is just so useless.
When does a dad joke become a dad joke?
What?
When it's apparent.
Haha. Ah. Good one. So he's gonna let the starport. This should not survive, really, with the Phoenixes being around, but, you know, only if Stats wanted to commit to killing it.
Well, for Joshy, a lot of his plans have been kind of screwed over by this, and worse yet, with that starport flying, like we've actually seen proxies fail, be left alone, and it pumps out medevacs, right? Sends those home, and at least you get use of the starport. Fortunately, right now, kind of useless, and this also eats into that very important production. You know, 2 medevacs,
Nah,
I guess is kind of like par for the course, but he wishes he was using the second starport. I tell you that much.
It's gonna survive though, which is what's so weird. Like, it might just make the long journey home in about the time you would want a second starport, and that'd be great. That'd just be perfect. So it remains to be seen though if Joshy is like even gonna get to that point. Like, he's still on 2 bases without doing any damage whatsoever, and if he stays on 2 bases, I'm not sure he's gonna be able to afford building from that second starport, which is being attacked right now, so it might not survive.
Yeah, the one adept. See you in a couple years.
Yeah, exactly. Push coming forward, they'll have stim and +1, and I guess combat shields will finish up as well. But Stats should have enough of an army. He did not go for too many Resident Enclaves. In fact, I don't know if he went for Resident Enclaves at all. I'm going to say too many Adepts. But he went for instead a lot of Stalkers and Blink, which is, I would think, a surprise for Joshy. I've seen the Oracle opener, and now he's... I mean, either way, you're not escaping, whether it's because of the Swing Stalkers or the Phoenixes.
Well, Widowman actually gets a pretty good hit, all things considered. Joshy's army supply is not so bad that he can't fight, but the fact that's all been revealed means he knows he's not going to ever have the advantage. There's going to be no element of surprise.
He didn't get Resident Enclaves. Stats is all about mixing up the tech here in this series. So weird. I definitely saw the reasoning behind it last game, and then like it also happened in the Corsair Cup yesterday too. Someone went like Resident Enclaves when you think they should have gone Blink, but for me, getting Blink stock at this point as opposed to Resident Enclaves doesn't make any like much sense. But it's just overwhelming numbers anyway because the opener failed. I just feel like Blink Stalkers are the unit that's a little bit like they are kind of the throw unit because they're so bad against upgraded bio. Where Resident Enclave Adepts really aren't. But either way.
I feel when you get this Liberator set up and it's the only position in the entire map that'll be useful.
Aww.
Oh, it feels bad, man. But yeah, you're right. Go back to stats here for a moment, though. As much as things may or may not have been delayed, you know, he's got Resident Enclaves, he's got +1. I like the armor upgrade, actually, over +2 weapons or anything like that. But more importantly, he's moving on to Robo, so we do see this Colossus coming out. And maybe he recognizes this is okay because the starport was shut down so hardcore, but it's actually making a Liberator or 2, by the way.
Or 2, yeah, exactly. The Liberators are going to be taken care of by the Stalker count, so I mean that's something you just have to worry about, getting Blink so early. But these do have Resident Enclaves in just a second. Doesn't help against the Liberators. So they just stand there. There we go, they move out. But now it's done, and they're taking on the Marauders. They could take on the SCVs now as he transfers them over, and Joshy still has to worry about a main army fight happening in the front of his base. He's actually going to pounce on Stats.
Ooh, gets the sentries. That's a good start.
Not bad. This is just a pure gateway army with still a lot of emphasis on those Stalkers, so yes, Stats does have to leave. But nice, the SCVs go down. Josh, you might as well pull the rest and try and all in.
Well, as cleanup, I guess, finishes up, Stats still leads massively in supply. And this is probably going to be the last decent fight Joshy can take. But his worker count being so low, even with the power of mules, like this really is his last chance to get a good fight.
Right. I really think he just should have brought the SCVs.
Pulled the boys, as it were.
Yeah. Time Warp is kind of useful here.
Surprisingly, yeah. The Pylon's going to get a snipe on a couple of these kills. This is great for stats. Trades a Pylon for like a Marauder and a half. That's not bad. And of course, he's taking a 4th base while this goes on. But Liberators are doing a lot of damage. There's no question about it. The problem is all the ground's melting underneath them. So they might kill everything. Eventually, stats kills everything now.
Yeah. Oh, he just runs into the Colossus, too. Just for like a second, he gets... Oh, his Marauders killed. Stalker is plenty enough to kill Liberators on their own, and Joshy is out of luck.
Well, it's actually not gonna... There we go. I was gonna say, he wouldn't finish it sitting where he was, but... Yeah, that's it for poor Joshy. Looks like he's gonna be falling to the losers match of the group. And I guess that is the reminder. This is like a GSL group, guys. GG! So there are 2 preliminary matches, a winner's match, a loser's match, and of course the grand finals. All best of 3. Sweet and simple. They're going to do some recap stuff and start setting up the next series, so we're going to take this time to play a small commercial break. I do hope you guys will sit tight and join us for the next series of Trust versus Impact when we return. Thanks for watching.